Welcome back to Terra Home. We are now in Waterdown at Keynote Music School, and I'm here with Brian Cashion, and you are the director of the school.
I am.
And I thought it would be a great opportunity to in the new year, to talk to people about music lessons. And again, adults and children, you serve here, but a lot of times adults, they just want to get back. They want to pick up that guitar and start playing again, or it's something they put down for years, and that's something. It's a nice getaway for people when it comes to music, right? Because it's an art and often a passion. But you also have little ones that come in here right from the get-go, young ages, don't you? How young do you start?
We start students at the age of 5 with the private lessons. Yeah.
So that can be kind of interesting, right? So let's talk about the style of music. What instruments, and you also do vocal as well. Do you provide?
We teach all sorts of instruments here. We do piano, we do guitar, both electric and acoustic. We do bass guitar, drums. So all the core instruments. We do voice lessons like you'd mentioned. We also do a few woodwind instruments. We do some clarinet, some saxophone, some flute.
Oh wow. So I mean, really anything that you need. And I think that, as we all know, music and the arts programs were threatened for so long in the school and in schools. And a lot of times, particularly public schools, they have a tough time with their music classes and just try and have the funding to have the instruments, the proper number of instruments to serve the kids. So a lot of times kids will, they'll be able to play in class, but they can't take the instrument home. And how can you improve unless you have that opportunity to have that instrument yourself, right? So that's where I guess private lessons come in turn. They have extra time to play.
Yes, absolutely. That's a question we get from parents a lot. Say, well, do we need to have an instrument at home? No, I don't want to go out and have to buy a piano. It's a pricey investment, especially if you have a small child who is maybe just starting to dip their toe into the waters of music education. And sometimes kids are, they're not decided if they're going to stick with it after a month or so.
Right.
So it is important to have an instrument at home. Obviously, it's the best way to improve between lessons is to have an instrument to work on at home. You practice 15 minutes a day. At the beginner level, that's enough to get you started. And you certainly don't need to have a full-on acoustic piano, even a portable keyboard, somewhere in the $100 range.
A keyboard, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can put it anywhere in the house, nice and light.
Yeah. So when you're structuring classes for kids, how often would the average child come in to practice and to have lessons?
All but our most advanced students come in for a half-hour lesson once a week. Some of our more advanced students opt to take 2 half-hour lessons, but most of the advanced students come in still just once a week, but for an hour-long lesson.
That's not bad at all, right? A half-hour lesson. That's nice and short and sweet. And again, good information. And it's as you say, so it's a private lesson, so it's one-on-one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep, one-on-one. All of our instructors here have post-secondary training in music and whatnot. So, definitely in good hands if you're looking to learn how to play.
Yeah, I think that is really, really great. So let's talk about the benefits of music for kids and really, where it can take them from, starting at such a young age, and if they do stick with it.
Well, there's a whole range of benefits, and this is anything that you can research easily online. If you were to punch in music education and academic benefits, you will find study after study showing how the brain is engaged, both left and right sides are really engaged when you are playing music. And it's actually been found that people who are improvising music, there are more connections, electrical connections happening in the brain than any other activity that has been recorded.
And so you can see how having music in the school system is so important. I remember I couldn't wait to get to music class or art class. That was part of my day. I mean, to get me out of science right now, or math class, so that I can get to music class. And again, as you're saying, it benefits the brain in so many ways. It's also, for some kids, it's almost just a release. It's a total break. Even though you're still working hard and you're still working your brain, sometimes it doesn't even feel like work at all, right?
Oh, absolutely, and especially with the eradication of the music programs, at least to the formal degree that they used to be held in schools. A lot of students, I think, view it as something that is really not connected to school. It's as much an extracurricular activity as going to soccer practice. Something you don't get in class, and it's something that you really. It's such an impersonal activity that you're doing it really without the aid of a teammate in most cases. Right. So it's really just you and your coach, your music instructor.
Yep. So. Well, with my brother being a music teacher, I know that he would often say that his students, they didn't want to leave music, so the music class would run into lunch, and they would just grab their lunch and they'd sit there and they'd look, and then he's like, okay, you can't be eating and your woodwind instrument, but they would literally stay and park themselves in the music class right through lunchtime because they just wanted to be there. They just loved it, and I think that's what's cool about music, right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It really is fun. If it's we teach in a nice casual environment here, so we don't want it to feel like work. Right. We realize it is a hobby for both for children and for adult students. And we treat it as such. We really just want to imbue the love of music, and we want people to enjoy music enough that they want to continue on with lessons. And when they're students, when they've graduated from high school and they don't have time for private lessons anymore, that's something they pursue on their own.
Yeah, they just do on their own. So you're not saying, hey, you're going to be the next rock star, but this is just something that's good for you and something you enjoy.
Yeah, if it happens, it happens.
It happens, it happens. That's right. Now, we're looking through our segment here of 2 students that you have. So one vocalist and one pianist. So let's talk about Terra, our sweet little singer, 10 years old. And how long has she been here?
Tara's been with us for about 3 years, and something we actually didn't get to see from Tara today, she actually takes 2 sets of lessons for voice and for piano as well. So she's got a lot of potential on the piano. She, like all good students, she practices diligently and makes good improvements from week to week. She actually started with piano before she switched over to voice, and she's obviously fluent in both. And what an amazing talent that'd be too, right? To be able to sing and play the piano at the same time. Again, you're using all aspects of your brain there, right? Technically, you can't take that for granted by any means. No, it takes a lot of focus.
Already just trying to look at they're looking at their fingers while they're playing, and again, just to not do that, never mind have to sing as well. That's very, very cool. Absolutely. And a real sweetie. And you can see with both of them now Emmett, he's 12, right?
Yes.
And so how long has he been playing piano?
Emmett has been with us for about 6 years, and he was a beginner when he started. So.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, and he's so good. He played quite. Like when you're listening to these kids, they're so good, but also they just seem so really docile and very, it's something about music almost gives them a really nice structure too. As you say, there's something that music brings these kids. Not that all kids are going to be just like Emmett and Tara, but there's something about them that they just seem almost ahead of their years, right? Because they're coming in here playing something like this or singing.
Right. They've really developed confidence in this activity, and I think it carries over to other facets of their life too. So they just seem really well put together, and they're both very well spoken, very bright. So,
so cute.
Actually, Emmett just competed in the Rotary Festival in Burlington last week and was able to place first.
That's amazing. So there you go.
Did very well.
That's so good. And then that's something, kudos to you guys as well, because it always comes from a good teacher. So
thank you.
That brings us back to lessons. How would someone register here for their child?
Well, it's pretty straightforward. You can find our website, keynotemusicstudio.ca, or you can give us a call. Our phone number's on the website, and we can just take care of it over the phone. The biggest obstacle for parents is just finding a time where we have an opening. Scheduling, that's right. Finding a time that we have available. And the kids are free, but we are fairly flexible with scheduling. Okay. So if you do need to miss a class, if you have an unexpected soccer practice come up, or there's a school field trip that's going to interfere with your class time, we'll just move it to a different day.
Well, so that works out really well. So again, literally, a child could come right after class and come here, and right after school if you wanted, and off they go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We start at 3 o'clock for our after-school programs, and we go till 9. And we actually do have some adult students that come in the earlier part of the day as well. A couple of homeschooled children as well, whose schedules are a little more flexible. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for letting us in your space. And again, it's good. It's good for your kids, and it's good for your brain too as an adult. We'll be back with more Terra Home.